It's been a while since we've talked about David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, and besides them being really the catalyst that helped launch Game of Thrones to being the massive hit and success that it was on HBO, they were at one point going to make a Star Wars movie, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it was going to be a trilogy of films at one point in time. Well, it looks like there's some news or newsworthy information that's recently come out that they say that their canceled Star Wars movie was about the first Jedi, the very first Jedi, but Lucasfilm wasn't interested in doing that story. They say it was basically how the Jedi Order came to be, why it came to be, and the first lightsaber, and that's coming from THR. Look, and discussing Film on X. Look, I gotta say, that's a very, very interesting concept and idea, and one that I think that would have been really, really cool. I know that the rumors surrounding the Benioff and Weiss was an old Republic type of story. And if I'm not mistaken now, isn't there a movie in the works right now that's going to be covering that? It's crazy to think that they were going to do that. They said, no, we don't want that. And now they're doing it again. It makes me wonder, what was it? Maybe it was their idea. Maybe it was their concept that they wanted to go with it. But with the direction that Star Wars is going right now, I think they probably, granted, look, if you hear the stories about how they almost ruined Game of Thrones in the first couple seasons, how they had no idea what they were doing, how everything had to be rewritten, how poorly managed things were with them back in the first couple seasons. And then obviously you see how Game of Thrones ended. That final season was just horrendous. Really, the final two seasons were pretty bad. But seeing where Star Wars is now and how loosey-goosey they are and how dedicated they are to DEI and this whole woke ideals and agendas, maybe this wouldn't have been a bad idea. I think this was back in 2017? This was announced, 2018 this was announced. This movie probably would have come out by now had they followed through with this and actually gone with the Benioff and Weiss idea. I don't hate it. I think my big thing with Star Wars, I say this all the time, is I get the idea. I know there's some people who want to get away from the Skywalkers and push them to the side, and I'm okay with that. But you can't forget that the main saga, the Skywalker saga, that is what got you there. That is Star Wars. That is the meat and potatoes of the brand, of the franchise. And I'm all for doing spin-offs, doing things about the old Republic, the High Republic times, which honestly I don't really care about the High Republic. Going into the future to the new Republic, I'm okay with all of that. But you always have to remember where you came from. And I think doing something set way back in the First Jedi and such, and even at that time, finding a way to discover the prophecy of the Chosen One in some form or fashion, and kind of interconnecting what the future may hold for the Jedi, I think would have been a really cool idea and concept. Learning how lightsabers were made. And I get sometimes that you want to keep some mysticism. I understand that, and I get that. Look what happened to Boba Fett. Boba Fett was such a great character back in the 80s and 90s when he was just this character with very little backstory, with very few words, and very mysterious ways. And then came the prequels, and he's just a bounty hunter, and that's not his dad was Jango. He's a clone. Oh, okay. And then things just started to unravel, and then when the Book of Boba Fett came out, and oh boy, you really screwed him up. So sometimes, yes, keeping a level of mysticism and that kind of stuff is nice to keep, but I think when it comes to stuff here, when it comes to the Jedi, when it comes to learning their history, where they come from, why they are the way they are, I think this would be a really cool idea. we have a lot of history in the expanded universe that we can pull from, specifically, especially with the Sith. I mean, everybody knows and understands the role of two and why there's a role of two. But I think it'd be a really cool idea to go this route, and maybe that's what they're going to do with the film that they are going to do set in the distant past. Maybe not. It is to be seen. I'm hoping that maybe someday their ideas come out. Maybe they had a script and it maybe leaks out at some point. That'd be pretty cool. But let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think they should have went the DB Weiss and David Benioff route? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe. And with all that said, guys, I guess I'll talk to all of you later.